How's it going, airplane collectors? Welcome to a very special video. It's your host, Ray. Today is June 13th, 2022. And exactly 2 years ago today, I received a special package in the mail. That was my first 1/400 scale aircraft. Little did I know it would bring about something that I never could have anticipated. 2 years later, I now have a collection of 87 different 1/400 scale aircraft, plus other aircraft in different scales. And I chose to celebrate this by showing you guys every single one of those 1/400 scale aircraft. So this video is a showcase of my 1/400 scale aircraft fleet. This is going to be a very long video, so sit back, relax, and let's get this started. If you guys see a model here that you are unfamiliar with or that I have not reviewed, by all means comment down below which models you would like me to review, and I will happily do that for you guys. That's actually the main goal behind this video, to show you guys which models that I haven't reviewed yet that you guys would like to see on the channel. Starting off with a blast from the past, these are actually my first two 1/400 scale model aircraft. The one on the left is the Gemini Jet Spirit Airlines Airbus A319, and I received this when I was very young, and I obviously mistreated it. So, lesson to be learned, do not give a highly detailed model to a little kid who breaks everything. These two models are not part of my active fleet because they're severely damaged, and both of them do not fly today in 2022. The second model is the Model Power American Airlines DC-10, and this one didn't really fare off any better than the Spirit A319. I wouldn't receive another 1/400 scale model aircraft until 2020, many years after I received those first two, and this is the model that started it all, the first model of my current active fleet. The Gemini Jets United Airlines Airbus A319. I received this model exactly 2 years ago today on June 13th, 2020, and it's still very much a part of my fleet and overall one of my favorite models, if not my favorite model out of my entire airplane collection. The second model in my current airplane collection and the fourth overall is the Gemini Jet's fictional airplane, the Airliners International 2010 737-200 commemorative model. This aircraft obviously doesn't exist. The only reason I bought it was because it looked nice and it was really cheap. And I don't display it or talk about it as much as I should. And in 2021, I actually decided to add a little antenna to it right here, which is made out of paper. I received this model on June 15th of 2020. The third model is the Gemini Jet's Interjet Airbus A321neo. I received this model on June 25th of 2020. And unfortunately, this aircraft does not fly anymore for Interjet. I flew on this aircraft in 2018, and that's pretty much the only reason why I'm keeping it. I should add that this is technically my first damaged model, since you can see the Wi-Fi dome that was attached to the rear section of the fuselage is not here, and this is because it arrived attached with the model, and I never really decided to reattach it. The sixth model is also another aircraft that doesn't fly anymore, the Gemini Jet's United Airlines 737-500. The only reason I got this one was because it looked nice, and by the time I received it in July 3rd, 2020, there we go. It had been long out of the skies, and it was rather expensive, but I thought it was a cool aircraft, and I still do think it's a really nice aircraft, so that's why I still have it. Model number 7 is the infamous Gemini Jet's United Airlines Boeing 767-300 in the new livery. I received this aircraft on July 27th of 2020, and this was also a severely defective model, and this is what it looked like when I received it. You can obviously see that the right winglet is severely mangled, and taking a look at the model today, I did mostly repair it, but you can tell that the winglet was damaged at one point, and I never was really able to fix the paint issues that had occurred during the process of fixing the winglet. This aircraft was my first 1/400 scale wide body, and it's still a really nice airplane, and I'm glad that I have it in my collection. The eighth model is the Gemini Jet's Air Canada Airbus A220-300. I received this model on August 15th of 2020, and this is the first time I went to Grayland Station, so this is the first model that I bought from Grayland Station in Chicago. This model is alright, it's decent, it's not the best, it's not the worst, and it was also my first Air Canada model, so that was pretty cool. Model number 9 is one of my favorite models in the collection as well, the Gemini Jet's Delta Airlines Boeing 757-200. This was my first 757 and my first Delta Airlines plane in my 1-400 scale model collection, and I received this on September 28th of 2020. I'm considering replacing this now that NG Model has released their own, but again, this is still a really nice model, so I might end up not getting rid of it. Speaking of NG Model, for the 10th model in my collection is my first NG Model aircraft, the United Airlines Boeing 737-800 in the new livery. This was the second release that NG Model did, and this is also by far one of my favorite aircraft since it's such high quality and overall just a nice looking aircraft. I received this model on November 8th of 2020. Model 11 is another wide body, and this one is the Gemini Jets Delta Airlines Boeing 767-300. Unlike my United Airlines model, this one came in pristine condition, and it's really nice. It's one of my favorite models in my collection as well. I've said that for way too many of these things now. And I also received this model on November 26th of 2020. The 12th model for today is the NG model Air Canada Airbus A330-300, and this at the time was the largest wide-body aircraft in 1-400 scale that I owned. It was also my first Airbus A330. This one unfortunately arrived severely damaged.
That right there is emotional damage.
The wings were detached, antennas were messed up, and while I did repair most of the damage and I was able to save the model, there are still traces of damage that are visible on the bottom of the aircraft, like this paint scratch right here. Aside from that, this model is still pretty decent, and it's also the first out of 3 models from my first multiple model order. The second model from that multiple model order, and the 13th model in my fleet overall, is the NG model Delta Airlines Airbus A321. This is also an extremely nice model, and I'm really glad that I have it in my collection, and it was also my first NG Airbus A321, and to say the least, it left a very good impression on me. Since I received this model with the same order of the previous model, this also arrived on December 7th of 2020. The last model from that December 7th large order and the 14th model in my fleet overall is the Gemini Jets American Airlines Boeing 767-300. This model completed my American Big 3 airline 767 fleet, which was the United 767, the Delta 767, and now the American 767. And I still have all of those models 2 years later, and they're all pretty nice, aside from the issues that I pointed out with the United one. It's Christmas time. The 15th model in my collection is the Gemini Jets Alaska Airlines Airbus A321neo, and I received this as a Christmas present on December 25th of 2020. It's an okay model. The Gemini Jets A321 mold isn't exactly the best, and the engines don't make up for that either, but either way, it's a nice model, and I'm glad I have it. My second Christmas present was the Gemini Jets Spirit Airlines Airbus A321, and I also received this on December 25th of 2020. By this time, I had been trying to get this model for a very long time, and I couldn't find it anywhere until one day we found it at Grayland Station, and we decided to get it for my Christmas present. And it's still a pretty solid model, so I'm glad I have it in my fleet. For the 17th model and the final model I received in 2020, the United Airlines 747 Friendship livery made by Gemini Jets. This one was also a Christmas present, and it caught me by complete surprise since I thought these were all sold out, but fortunately they had one of these in stock at Grayland Station, so I received that as my Christmas present too. That concludes the models that I received in 2020. Overall, I received 15 1-400 scale model aircraft in 2020, plus the other 2 that I had from previous years, so right now my model aircraft fleet is at 17. Happy New Year! Starting off 2021 extremely strong. Here's the Gemini Jets United Airlines Boeing 787-10 Dreamliner. At this point, this was the largest aircraft in my fleet, and the first model I received in 2021, so it was really nice, and honestly, this is also one of my favorite models in the fleet. It's a really nice airplane. I should also mention that I received this model on January 9th of 2021, and I bought this at Grayland Station along with 2 other models. The 19th model in the fleet is the Gemini Jets United Airlines or United Express Embraer 175. I bought this model at Grayland Station along with the 787-10 Dreamliner that I had showed previously, And this one caught me completely off guard because I did not expect to see it there, and I got it for a really good price too. Of course, this model has some issues. But aside from that, it's still pretty nice. And in April of 2021, I decided to modify this one a little bit, and I added antennas to the aircraft. I added all of the antennas you see on this plane were added by me except for this one. So 1, 2, 3, this one was really hard, 4, and 5. So that was cool. These antennas are made out of paper and they're extremely fragile, so do not try this at home. The 20th model in the fleet is the Gemini Jets Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-700 in the Illinois 1 special livery, which unfortunately no longer exists. This is the third model I bought, with the other two models that I mentioned previously at Grayland Station on January 9th of 2021. And I keep this model boxed because I intend to sell it or trade it away later, since it really isn't the best quality model. Just a lot of parts are messed up, the wheels don't roll, it arrived partially broken with the nose wheel arriving separated. So it's a model that I really just don't like overall. Happy birthday to me! The next model and the 21st model in the fleet is the NG model Alaska Airlines Boeing 737-800. This model has an interesting backstory since we had to order this model from England to get it to the United States, which is where I live, to get it to my house. So it took quite the journey to get to my place, and it's a really nice model, and as I said earlier, I received this model for my birthday on March 3rd of 2021. I'm really glad that I have this model in my fleet, and that's all I have to say about it. Model number 22 is the Alaska Airlines Embraer 175, also made by Gemini Jets. This model I received on March 4th of 2021, so the day after my birthday. And as you can see, I also added antennas to this model as well. So I added the 3 antennas on the top, which went surprisingly well, and then 2 antennas on the bottom. The antenna that's really close to the nose wheel, I kind of messed up because I didn't mean it for it to be that close. But it is what it is. You can't always hit every shot you take. And also, unlike the United model, this one doesn't have that much wing flex, so it's a bit nicer. Model 23 is the Gemini Jets United Airlines Boeing 7879 Dreamliner. I received this model on March 21st of 2021. Honestly, this model is pretty bad quality compared to what else the competition has to offer, and the only reason I got this model was because I thought I wouldn't be able to get the NG version, which is much better. However, I did get that version, and I will show that momentarily. I really don't have a reason to have this model, and I intend on selling this one later on. The 24th model is the Gemini Jets Delta Airlines Boeing 757-300. This model was part of the same release and the same order as the United Airlines 787 that I just showed, and unlike the United Airlines one, this one is actually pretty nice. I received this model on March 21st of 2021. The 25th model in the collection is the Hawaiian Airlines Boeing 767-300 made by Gemini Jets. I received this model on April 3rd of 2021, and this one I'm actually selling on eBay as we speak. This is a really nice model, but unfortunately Hawaiian Airlines retired their 767 fleet, and this aircraft does not fly for Hawaiian anymore. This one is a really nice model, and it's also an extremely rare variant, since this specific aircraft didn't include antennas on most of the models. However, this one actually does. You can actually search this model up with the specific registration N590HA, and most of them you'll see don't have antennas, but for some reason this one does. This model is also on the Phoenix mold, so it's noticeably better than the Gemini Jets one. It's not better by that much, but at least this one does not have a cradle mold. Model 26 is none other than the Gemini Jets Delta Connection CRJ 900, released in March of 2021. This model was so highly sought after that one collector even bought 27 of these, or pre-ordered 27 of these, and obviously he didn't receive all of them. And I am very lucky to own this model since I placed the order for this model directly through the phone with Grayland Station, so I'm very fortunate that Grayland Station had these in stock. Now, unfortunately, these models weren't made with any good quality control, and the landing gear was mounted backwards, as seen in this picture. Obviously, the CRJ-900 landing gear does not fit on the aircraft like this, so I decided to take matters into my own hands and follow what many other collectors were doing, and rip off the landing gear and reposition them. And I'd say the operation went fairly well. Here's what they look like now. Model 27 is the smallest aircraft in the fleet, and that is the Gemini Jets United Express CRJ-200. And to show you how small it is,
hamster.
Here's a hamster for scale. This hamster is going crazy. No, get over here, get over here. Running all over the place. Come here, little one. I also decided to modify this aircraft in several ways, most notably the 3 antennas that I added to the top of the fuselage. Here, here, and here. These antennas are actually a little large for the model. I accidentally made them too big, but either way I think they still look okay. I also modified the nose landing gear by repainting it since the paint that was included on the model itself was inaccurate. Here's what it looks like. Last time I checked, the wheels on airplane landing gear aren't gray. Model 28 is the Gemini Jets Emergent Cargo 767-300 freighter variant, and honestly I'm considering getting rid of it since I really have no use for it, but again I'm hesitating because it's a very nice airplane in my opinion, at least the livery is. I received this model along with the CRJ-200 mentioned earlier on April 28th of 2021. This model unfortunately had a defect and one of the landing gear wheels was detached from the model. Fortunately, I was able to fix the problem relatively quickly. Model 29 is the Panda model Southwest Airlines 737-700, which was a special model made for the RM model store. And I received this model originally on April 29th of 2021. However, that model had quite a few issues with it. One of them being a broken wing, one of the landing gears was messed up, and a few other things that I can't exactly remember. So as a result, I got in contact with the owner of the RM model store, who requested that I send the model back in order to send me a replacement. And sure enough, I received a replacement on May 17th of 2021, and that's the model you see here. And it is a really nice model in my opinion, but there was a rather high rate of defects, at least for the first few models. Now the RM model store has a few more of these in different registrations, but overall the same aircraft, and those have much less of a tendency to arrive with defects. This was also the model responsible for beginning my continued support and faith in the RM model store. The 30th model in the collection is the NG model Southwest Airlines 737-700 with the split scimitar winglets. This model I also received on May 17th of 2021 with the replacement model from the previous model, and this model was pretty nice. However, it does have its issues with this the top right part of the scimitar tip on the right wing looking a little bit weird. I'm not sure exactly how to describe it, but it doesn't match the left side. And also, this model had a little bit of a surprise. Even though the model was broken, I still kept it, and I really don't care that it's broken since it's very hard to pull off the wing, and the brake is a clean brake, so none of the paint came off of the plane, so therefore I'm still satisfied with it. The 31st model in the collection is the NG model United Airlines Boeing 7879 Dreamliner. This model was the replacement model for the Gemini Jets version that I mentioned earlier. This was also my first NG model 787. I have to say this is a really nice model and I'm very glad that I have it, and nowadays it's highly sought after. I bought this model in my chemistry class at school, and I received this model on May 4th of 2021. The 32nd model in the collection is the Gemini Jets American Eagle CRJ-900, released in April of 2021. This model was also a model that was extremely sought after, even more than the Delta Connection CRJ-900 that I showcased earlier. And of course, this one wasn't made with the best quality control either. The landing gear were misplaced in the same way as the ones on the Delta CRJ 900, so as a result I decided to rip them off and perform the same procedure and rearrange them, and here's how it turned out. Much better than the Delta version in my opinion, at least because now I had more experience doing this maneuver, or not maneuver, but doing this procedure. I also noticed that the horizontal stabilizers were bent upwards instead of downwards like on the real aircraft. So, along with a few other collectors, I decided to break these off and rearrange them in the correct fashion. The 33rd model in my collection is the NG model United Airlines 737-700. I received this model on June 21st, 2021, and this one is also one of my favorite models in the collection since it's pretty much perfect. It came with no issues, the mold is awesome, and I have no complaints about this one. Model 34 is the NG model Aeroflot Airbus A350-900. This covered a few firsts. This was the first A350 in my collection. It was my first NG A350, and it was also the first model that I bought from the first paycheck of my first job. I pre-ordered this in March of 2021, and it arrived on June 25th of 2021. Unfortunately, this model did have issues. The nose gear was defective and it was not attached properly, so it fell off in the middle of one of my reviews, actually. I attempted to make the review and it fell off, so as a result, I glued it back fairly quickly. One of the main landing gear wheels was also detached, but I also fixed that. Model 35 is the NG model Alaska Airlines Boeing 737-900. I received this model along with the A350 from earlier on June 25th of 2021, and this was also another model that I pre-ordered with my first paycheck for my first job. This model was really nice, however it did have an issue with the 900 text here unfortunately wiping off. You can see here the 900ER text is faded off there. And I'm not sure what happened. The paint was still wet, I guess. But I really can't complain that much. It's not the end of the world. Model 36 is the Gemini Jets American Airlines Boeing 757-200. I received this model sometime in July of 2021. And I'm also considering selling this model since unfortunately American Airlines retired their 757s a while back. I believe sometime last year in 2021 or even in 2020. I bought this model used, and unfortunately it can be very easily observed that the one of the horizontal stabilizers was re-glued, since there's a lot of glue residue surrounding the area, so that was kind of annoying when I received it. The eBay seller did not point out this problem when they were selling the model. Models 37 through 39, which are going to be the next three models, including this one that I cover, were all ordered during my vacation from August 3rd to August 9th of 2021. This model is the Gemini Jets Spirit Airlines Airbus A321 with a little twist. You see, I already have the Spirit A321 normal, which is in its normal configuration. However, I ordered this model alongside a Spirit A320neo, so I decided to swap the engines with the two, and this was the result of it, a fictional Spirit Airlines Airbus A321neo. I don't use this model very much, and I mean, I guess the job could have been a bit better done. You can see here there is a bit of glue residue where the engines were reattached. It's still really cool to have this model and be the first one to own one of these before the plane even exists. I am in limbo about selling this one. I might sell it, I might not, but chances are I won't. I should also mention that I received this model on August 8th of 2021. Model 38, which was part of the same vacation ordering spree, was the NG model Delta Airlines Airbus A321 in the thank you special livery. I also received this model on August 8th of 2021, and I ordered this alongside some gates from the RM model store, which was pretty nice. However, this one, unfortunately, it came broken, and I still haven't fixed it to this day, which I will actually do right now.
That's a lot of damage. How about a little more? No, that's a lot of damage.
Well, back to business now that the model's fixed. It's a really nice model. I'm glad that I have it. Model 39 is the Gemini Jet Spirit Airlines Airbus A320neo. I received this model on August 9th of 2021, and I ordered this from a seller on Discord, and we worked out a price, and overall this is a really nice model. Even though the engines are a little big, I chose to leave this one alone and to not modify it, and that's all I have to say about it. This is model number 40, and I didn't receive this model until September 4th of 2021, and this is the model which I swapped engines with the Spirit A321neo from earlier. So this was originally the A320neo that I showed you earlier, basically the same model, but then I swapped the engines. I made a separate video on this around the same time that I did the operation, so if you want to go look at that, feel free to check that out. I'm also very proud of this, and given that this didn't go to waste and it didn't get messed up, I'm satisfied. Even though the engine positioning is a little bit questionable, I think on this one, yeah, you can see the right engine is tilted slightly towards the fuselage. I'm still very proud of it, and I think it looks really nice. Back to regular programming and staying away from all of the modification deals. We'll start with Model 41, which is the NG model Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-800. I received this model on September 7th of 2021, and this is the last model I received before I took a break from YouTube. And this model is really nice, although it was very expensive for me. I have no regrets since this model is still really good. This was one of the models that I decided not to feature in my massive unboxing since I received this model before I went inactive, so this is the first time it's on camera, and I think this is, I'm pretty sure this is the model that inspired me to make this video as a whole. From here on out, every single model that I show was featured in the massive unboxing of December 18th, 2021, until I say otherwise. Starting off with the NG model, Delta Airlines Boeing 737-900, I received this model on September 11th of 2021, or no, I'm sorry, October 11th of 2021, and this is model number 42. A lot of collectors unfortunately received this model with various defects. No! But fortunately for me, this one arrived just fine. Model 43 is the NG model Hawaiian Airlines Boeing 787-9. I received this model with the Delta 737-900 on October 11th of 2021, and I haven't seen very much from this model since I guess it wasn't as popular, but honestly, it's really nice. It's pretty much perfect in my opinion, except for one little defect that someone pointed out to me on Instagram. The nostril of the woman on the tail here is actually a little bit high, so it's higher up than it should be, so that's, I guess, a little bit of an issue. Either way, I really don't care. It's a small issue, and it's a cool model nonetheless. Model 44 is the NG model Air Canada Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner. I also received this with the other two models that I mentioned earlier on October 11th of 2021. And this one, unfortunately, it was the first model that started the massive unboxing, and one of the landing gear, the main landing gear wheels, was separated, so I had to fix that after the unboxing. Aside from that, it's a really nice model, and I'm glad I have it. Model 45 is the Panda model Spirit Airlines Airbus A320, which was an RM Model Store special. I received this one on October 12th of 2021, and this one was also featured in the massive unboxing. This model had some very not noticeable issues, but some issues that I didn't really like, such as the engine pylons being really flimsy. You can tell that they're made out of plastic because you can twist the engines very easily. And also the landing gear wheels are very stiff. However, I've come to expect that with most Panda models, since I guess they don't like the gears rolling. Either way, it's still a really nice model, and it's also the only Spirit Airlines Airbus A320 with the fenced wingtips. Model 46 is another RM Model Store special. It's the Panda model Jetblue Airways Airbus A320. This was my first Jetblue model, and it has this really nice looking, I think it's called Shante tail. I'm not exactly sure what the name is or the naming system for JetBlue's A320s and their tail designs, but it's a nice model. It has the same issues as the Spirit one with the loose engines and the wheels not rolling, but either way, I can, I guess, forgive those since these aren't meant to be played with. and they're for display only, but it still kind of messes with me a little bit. Bottom line, it's a nice model, it has some issues, and I really like it. Moving back to the wide-body area, with Model 47 being the NG model, Delta Airlines Airbus A330-300. This model was released in July of 2021, and I pre-ordered it at the same time, and it took 3 months to arrive to my location due to the fact that it may or may not have been trapped in a hurricane. The place where I ordered it from, which is the RM Model Store, based in the New England area of the United States, was struck with a tornado while these models were being shipped. So I was actually informed that my specific package containing this model and 3 others, which I will show shortly, was stored in a USPS facility which had its roof collapse. So I'm very fortunate that these models even made it to my location. More about the model itself though, it's really nice, it didn't come with issues, and I'm very glad I have it in my collection. This model is Model 48, and this is the NG model Alaska Airlines Boeing 737-900 in the One World Special livery. This model was released alongside the other Alaska Airlines 737-900 that I featured earlier. However, I ordered it much later since I also ordered this model with another model which arrived much later. However, this model was shipped with the other 3 models that survived the hurricane, and aside from the 900 ER text under the nose wiping off again, this model arrived just fine. Model 49 is one of the most unique and probably one of my favorite aircraft liveries to have ever existed. The NG model Alaska Airlines Boeing 737-900 in the UNCF Special livery. This one was also shipped with the models that survived the hurricane, and it came with no issues at all. This is honestly one of my favorite aircraft since it's a very unique livery and its design, it's inspired by a beautiful cause, so that's pretty cool. Finishing off the hurricane survivors with Model 50, this is the NG model Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-800 in the Freedom 1 Special livery. Also one of my favorite special liveries since it has the American flag flying over it. And I think it's really cool. It's just a very nice aircraft. I have seen complaints about this aircraft regarding the wing markings. From what I remember reading, I'm not 100% sure on this. This section here of the black lines on the wing is actually not supposed to be there. However, I'm not 100% sure as to whether or not that's accurate or not. But one thing's for sure, I really don't care that much. It's not that significant to me, and it's a detail I will be keeping on the airplane, since I have seen other collectors try and remove it, and I just don't want to mess with the airplane. Model 51 is the Gemini Jets American Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 8, released in August of 2021. And this model is actually a little bit special since I bought this model at the Chicago Airline Collectibles Show of, I think it was October 23rd, 2021. Yes, it was October 3rd of 2021. And I really like this model, even though it has some problems with like the landing gear here. The wheels themselves don't touch the ground. It's just this bottom part of the landing gear, so that's why you can kind of hear it make that really just nasty noise when it rolls. That's the base of the landing gear touching the ground. But it's still a nice model. However, I did see a lot of these with defects such as engines being pointed upwards, and mine was no exception to that. You can see the right engine is ever so slightly pointed upwards. However, it's very acceptable compared to what else I've seen with the engines being pointed extremely far upwards. Model 52 is the Gemini Jets British Airways Airbus A350-1000. I also bought this at the Chicago Airline Collectibles Show on October 23rd of 2021, and yeah, it's pretty nice, and it's the longest aircraft by fuselage length in my fleet today, so that's pretty nice. Model 53 is the Gemini Jets Delta Airlines Airbus A220-100. This model I was very fortunate to find, and I actually didn't find it myself. One of my online friends on one of the model airplane chat groups that I'm in found this and sent the information to me, so then I ordered it, and it came a few days later on October 20th of 2021, so a few days before the Chicago Airline Collectible Show. And yeah, it was pretty nice. This one actually came from Canada. I had to order it from Canada to get it back here in the States. And it was pretty nice overall, except... yeah, it was broken. But I won't complain. Again, it was a clean break, and now you can't even tell that it was ever broken. So I consider that a total win. Model 54 is also another rare model. It's the Delta Connection Embraer 170 made by Gemini Jets. And this model is not exactly popular, I guess. Well, it's very hard to find, that's what I'm trying to say. It's very rare, and unfortunately mine arrived with various shelfware defects. As you can see, there's a few paint scratches here, and on the winglets there's a few paint scratches too. But either way, I'm glad I have this one. It's very nice, and it was my first Embraer 170. This is the second smallest aircraft in the collection, behind the CRJ-200 that I showed you guys earlier. Model 55 is the Gemini Jets Alaska Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 9, and this model, let's just say it arrived with a nasty surprise. Yeah, it wasn't the best. You can kind of see my genuine reaction in the massive unboxing video, with the main landing gear being detached and the top antenna also being detached. It was really annoying to see that, and honestly, I'm not exactly sure what happened, but I guess the model was manipulated in some way, because there's no way it rotated that far during shipping. But it is what it is. I ended up fixing it, and now it looks good as new, so I consider that a win as well. Models 56 and 57 are both the Gemini Jets Southwest Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 8. I ordered two of these in order to have a safety net if one of the models came damaged or defective, which one of them did. So I had, I guess, another model to at least keep while I discarded the other one. And honestly, both of them came fine. However, this one here, I believe it has a significant engine tilt upwards. It's one of the more recent releases, being released in September of 2021, if my memory serves correctly. So yeah, they didn't exactly do a good job with engine tilt on these. The antenna on one of them also was very loose, so I had to pull it out and fix it. I believe it was this one. I had to pull out this antenna back here. But overall, they're fine now, and they're part of my fleet. And these two are the final models that were featured in my massive unboxing video. So these are the last two models from the massive unboxing, and from every model here on out, they were not part of this massive unboxing. Model 58 is the Etihad Airways Airbus A350-1000 made by JC Wings. This was my first JC Wings in 1:400 scale, and I received this on December 23rd of 2021. I also received this with another 1:200 model that I still have, and this also shares the title with the longest aircraft by fuselage length in the fleet, with the A350-1000 from British Airways that I mentioned earlier. I really don't have much else to say about this model, except I really like the paint job and the livery overall. It looks really cool, and it's a nice model overall. And the final model of 2021, and certainly not the least, last model of 2021, but not the least, I really need to work on my narrating skills, the Aeroclassics Spirit Airlines Airbus A320 Sharklets. I've been looking for this model since 2020, and I really hoped to get it in 2021, and go figure, it was the last model that I received in 2021. I got this off of an Instagram seller who managed to deliver it to me right before Christmas, so it was really nice to get it, I guess, as a Christmas present. And the moment I received it, I went straight to modifying it. I added the 4 antennas, one here, and one here, and then one on the bottom of the aircraft, all made out of paper, all incredibly small, and all of them have broken off at least once. Now I've solidified them, and I've glued them securely, so hopefully they won't break again, but they were very hard to deal with. I also painted the insides of the engines black for more realism. 2021 was a very eventful year in terms of my model airplane collection. Aside from making another airport segment, I also received a net 42 models. So I started the year with 17 models, and I finished with 62. That model has since dropped, since this is model number 59, by 3 of them, because I have sold 3 of them so far. Happy New Year! Starting 2022 with Model 60 and the first model of 2022. The Gemini Jets Qantas Boeing 7879 Dreamliner. I received this model on January 7th of 2022 when I bought it at Greyland Station with a few other models, and it's pretty nice. It's on the JC Wings mold, so this time, instead of being on the current Gemini Jets mold, like the United 787 from Gemini Jets that I featured earlier, this one was on a much nicer mold, and I intend on keeping it. It's a very solid model. Model 61 is the JC Wings American Airlines Boeing 747 SP. I bought this model for my dad since it was a really nice model and he told me that he liked this aircraft, and I saw only one at the Greyland Station store, so I figured I'd get it. And honestly, I'm very glad I got it because I think it's a really nice model, and it also serves very nicely as a mirror. I'm just kidding, no, but it still looks really cool because it's polished. Model 62 is the NG model United Airlines Boeing 737-900 in the new livery. I got this model on January 21st of 2022, and honestly, this is also one of my favorite models in the collection because it's a very nice model. It's an NG 737, which are always good most of the time, and I just really like it. I really don't have much else to say about it. Model 63 comes in a close second place for my favorite model. My first, well, I really don't exactly have a specific order of favorite models, but this is definitely my second or first favorite model in my fleet. The NG model United Airlines 757-200 in the new livery. This model was absolutely amazing, and even though it did have some faults like the landing gear wheels being a little bit iffy with their attachment, it's still a really cool model, very nice, very high quality. And it was also the first model I received with the Collector Rewards program from NG Model. And the United 737-900 that I just showed you guys also featured that, so I was very happy with both models. Model 64 and 65 are the Gemini Jets Alaska Air Cargo 737-700 freighter variants. I bought these two off of the Alaska Airlines company store, which sells these for pretty cheap. And the reason I got two was, again, the same reason I got two of the Southwest 737 MAX planes, just in case one of them had defects. And both of them came just fine, so I might keep both, and I might sell one much later on. Who knows? But that's all I really have to say. They're decent models. They're not the best compared to what else the competition has to offer, but they're by no means bad at all. Model 66 is the American Airlines Embraer Regional Jet 145, or ERJ 145. I received this model on January 31st of 2022, and unfortunately this exact aircraft with the registration N603KC doesn't fly anymore, so I'm not sure what I want to do with this. It's a pretty small aircraft, but it's actually not the smallest in my fleet, and it was definitely a little bit larger than I anticipated, which isn't a complaint, but it's still pretty cool. Model 67 is the Delta Air Connection CRJ 700 made by Gemini Jets. I also received this with the American Airlines ERJ 145 that I just showed you on January 31st of 2022. It's a nice model, and personally I like this one a little bit more than the CRJ 900 since it's a more compact design, and I guess I'm not sure, just something about it. I like it more. And I also didn't have to modify the landing gear. They were actually mounted correctly on this one. Model 68 is the United Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 8 made by Gemini Jets. I received this model on February 7th of 2022, and this model was okay, I guess. It definitely had a lot of quality control issues for other collectors. However, mine came okay. The nose shape was a little bit wacky, and here's what it looked like. It was it's not the best, it's not the worst by any means, though. However, the main issue I had was the landing gear. Part of the lane, just the way the nose gear looks, it looks really fat, and I actually tried fixing it, and let's just say I had a little bit of an accident while doing that. While it's very hard to see, you can kind of see a little scratch line there. That's because my knife slipped and it scratched the model, so even though it's very small, it kind of bugs me from time to time, but this model is still very good quality, and there's definitely no way I'm going to sell it with that scratch on it, so I'm keeping it, and I really can't complain much about it either. Model 69 is the American Airlines American Eagle Embraer 175 made by Gemini Jets. I also received this one on February 7th of 2022. I added antennas to this one, and actually right now I broke one. I'm not sure where the antenna went. I'm not sure where the antenna went, but one of the top ones that I added, see, there's this one, and there's one that's supposed to be here, but that fell off apparently, so I'm going to need to fix that later. There's one here, and then there's the two at the bottom, which I also messed up again. This model's pretty solid, except for the nose gear. The nose gear is really bad in my opinion. I don't like it at all. And the wing flex on this model, while it's better than the United Embraer 175, it's still pretty bad either way. And fun fact, this aircraft, the specific registration N233NN, was actually involved in an accident not too long ago where one of the winglets fell off, just casually just said item head out and fell off of the airplane. So I guess I have to chop off the winglet for this one to be accurate. Just kidding, no, I think they repaired it and now it's in flying operations again. Model 70 and 71 are none other than the highly appreciated NG model United Airlines 757-200s in the Her Art Here liveries. The New York one, I think it's New York at least, let me make sure. Yeah, the Her Art Here New York one being on the left and the Her Art Here California one being on the right. Both of these are phenomenal aircraft and I scored these at ridiculously low prices. So I'm very glad I have them and they're very nice models and I think I'm just going to keep these for a very long time. I don't think I'm ever going to sell these. Model 72 and 73 are the Gemini Jets Alaska Airlines Airbus A320s in the Fly with Pride special livery. I originally had 3 of these. I gave one away to a friend, so now I have 2 of them, and honestly, they were not good quality at all. One of them had a really funky nose shape. It also had an odd tail shape, and one of them also had paint issues on it. You can see here that there was all sort of paint application issues, and all but one of them had scratches on the landing gear. You can see here there's paint scratches here on the landing gear from, I guess, being reattached. I'm not sure what happened, but it was pretty horrendous to say the least. I ordered these models from the Alaska Airlines company store and I received them on February 24th of 2022. Model 74 is the Gemini Jets Emirates Airbus A380 in the Dubai Expo 2021 to 2022 special livery. This aircraft is by far the largest overall aircraft in the fleet by wingspan, at least. Fuselage length, it's beaten by the A350s and the 777-300 that I will show later. But it's still extremely heavy, and it's probably one of my favorite models. I remember reviewing this one, and I pointed out virtually no defects. Just kidding, this thing was also broken, but again, it's one of those clean breaks, so I really won't complain too much. I was able to fix it, and honestly, it's a very tight fit, so it's hard to pull out of the airplane, so that's why I didn't even bother gluing it. I received this model on March 19th of 2022, and I bought this at Grayland Station. Model 75 is the Aeromexico 737 MAX 9 made by Gemini Jets. I also bought this model at Grayland Station alongside the A380 I just showed you, and this model is okay. However, when I was looking through the models to inspect which ones had the best quality control, all but one of them, and that one of them was this one, had all sorts of issues, from bent up engines, broken parts, loose antennas. It was absolutely horrendous. This one did have its own issues too, with the nose gear not being painted correctly. You can see it's kind of gold there, which really I don't care too much. I can probably paint over that, and I probably should do that. But it was still annoying to see nonetheless. It was really sad to see how Gemini Jets treats their best retailers. Model 76 and 77 are both Allegiant Airways. I think they're Airways or Airlines, I'm not sure. They're Allegiant planes. These are Panda model specials made for the RM model store, and I also had various fiascos with these as well. I originally received the first pair in January of 2022, however those had all sorts of defects, most of which were irreparable, so I had them exchanged for these two, and these two I received on March 26th of 2022, and they're pretty solid overall. The gears are stiff like the other A320s from Panda model, but they're still decent, so I'm glad I have them. Model 78 is the Gemini Jets American Airlines Airbus A320 in the special blue livery. Oh wait, no, that doesn't exist. I'm making a bad reference to the terrible paint job that Gemini Jets did on this airplane. You can tell right away that this is not the correct gray color from the American Airlines aircraft. It's more of a dark bluish gray color, which just looks pretty bad. So you might be wondering why I bought this model. Well, I actually got this model in Florida for my vacation in Florida, and I got this model exactly on March 29th of 2022 at a small little airplane supply store for pilots at the Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, and I saw that they had some of these models on sale, so I bought one, and it's still pretty nice. I guess I'm going to keep this one. If NG ever releases one, I might replace it, I might not, since it has that value that it was in Florida, and it flew on an airplane on the way home, so that was cool. Model 79 is another American Airlines plane. This is the Gemini Jets American Airlines Airbus A321 Sharklets Stand Up to Cancer special livery. This was a model that was made specially for the airplane shop, so that was nice. And it's pretty, I guess it's pretty mid. I'm not really sure how to describe it. It did have some issues, and it came to my attention that the American titles were actually slightly tilted. I can't show them right now because it's just really hard to show, but yeah, just take my word for it, I guess. It's not the best model. I think the NG one is better, and I should have bought the NG one, but I never did, so I guess I have this one. It's not the worst either, so I won't complain too much. We have reached the final stretch of models, starting with number 80, the Envoy Air American Eagle Retro Livery Special Airplane. I'm not exactly sure what to call it. This was made by Gemini Jets and released in March of 2022, and this airplane is operated by Envoy Air, and they decided to paint it in an American Eagle special livery to commemorate the old American Airlines livery. And this model was actually really nice. I'm glad I had it. The only issue with it is that the left engine is pointed downwards, but it's very hard to notice at all. So I'm glad I have it, and Gemini Jets actually did a pretty decent job on this one, so kudos to them on that. Model 81 is the Gemini Jets Breeze Airways Embraer 175, or not 175, 195. This was my first Embraer 195, and this was also released in March of 2022. And this model is okay. It's pretty good. Colors look fine. However, the thing that got me the most was the nose gear. The nose gear, it's just awful. People don't like it, and I guess Gemini Jets doesn't care because they haven't listened. You can see just the wheels are kind of like pinched together, and I actually had to twist it because it was tilted towards the right side of the aircraft, so that was even more annoying to see. This model also came with various other defects to other collectors, but my memory is a little hazy on exactly which defects they were. Moving back to the wide-body department with model number 82, this is the Aviation 400 United Airlines Boeing 777-300 extra range. I ordered this model on July 4th of 2021, and it didn't arrive until April 25th of 2022. The longest wait I've ever had to wait for a model on pre-order, and I have to say it was well worth it. This is one of my favorite models, and it's also it is the only Aviation 400 I have as of right now. It's really realistic, it's very nice. The fan blades even spin, which is something you don't see on 1 to 400 scale aircraft. However, the only issue I have with this one was the nose. The nose shape isn't really the best. You can kind of see here it's inaccurate. Kind of looks like it was crushed or something. And also the included display stand for this model, it's really cheap. It's made out of plastic. It was very hard to assemble and fit onto the aircraft. But aside from that, I really have no complaints about this model. This is probably one of the most high quality models in the fleet, aside from a few other NG ones that I own. Model 83 is the NG model American Airlines 737-800. I also received this on April 25th of 2022 from the RM Model Store, and that's from where I ordered the 777 that I just showed you guys. I got this one at a ridiculously good price too, and it's a nice model. I have seen that this model has arrived with various defects with the landing gear as well as being broken, and mine was actually broken. The main antenna up here was loose, but that took me 30 seconds to fix, so I really won't complain about that. This one is the one with the American Airlines logo on the winglets, which it was a little odd at first, but honestly, it's grown on me, and I kind of like it now. It's a unique touch. Model 85 is the Gemini Jets American Airlines Airbus A319. I bought this model on May 7th of 2022 at the Chicago Airline Collectible Show, and I thought this model was alright, but it turns out it's pretty bad. It has all sorts of issues, and it even has a problem with the cockpit windows being severely tilted, so I might sell this one eventually. But it's still cool. I've been wanting this model for a while, and now I have it. I will replace it once NG releases their own version of this, since they have the A320 mold now, or the A320 family mold, so yeah, this one, I don't think it's going to last very long. The last two wide-body aircraft for this video are the British Airways 747-400s, part of the special British Airways 747 dual package, I guess. These two have special tails. The one on the left is, I'm not even sure what the names are of these, but I also bought these two at the Chicago Airline Collectibles Show of May of 2022 on May 7th. And they're really nice. I got them both for $50, which is a really good price. So I might keep these, I might sell them. They're both really nice models, and they're also the oldest models in the collection, being from 2003, and the second oldest model being from 2009. So, yeah, that's pretty nice. Those last two models were models number 85 and 86, and now for the last model of this video, model number 87. This is the Panda model, JetBlue Airways Airbus A321neo. This model I got on May 14th of 2022, and I haven't received any new models since, so it's been quite a while, but I have quite a few on pre-order and a few that I intend on getting. This model was pretty nice, although the left engine was a little bit tilted, and the landing gears are again pretty stiff. It is still really solid. I have seen various quality control issues with this one, but mine was really nice. It didn't have any quality control issues. I also ordered this from the Waffle Collectibles store, and I ordered it on April 12th, and they got it to me 2 days later on the 14th, so I'm really surprised at their fast shipping service. Well, that concludes the video. Well, not the video, but the discussion of all of my airplanes. Those are all of the airplanes that I own as of June 13th, 2022, so I have owned a grand total of 92 aircraft so far. Or no, actually, I've owned a total of 98 aircraft so far. And currently in my fleet, I have 87. Before we finish, I'd also like to introduce you guys to my model aircraft database, link down below in the description. And this is a database of every single 1 to 400 scale aircraft that I've owned, and also pre-orders of aircraft that I will receive in the future, as well as a wish list of aircraft that I wish to be released. So if you guys want to check that from time to time for live and quick updates to my aircraft fleet, by all means feel free to visit that down below. Now on to the outro. So that concludes the entire video covering my aircraft fleet. I know some of it was uneventful, and this was certainly the longest video I've ever produced, so if you watched till the end, thank you so much. I have quite a few airplanes coming in eventually, so stay tuned for that. But that concludes the video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Happy 2 years with collecting airplanes on the RPG 4 Scale Models channel. I'll see you guys later.